Of all the things that we bring up to champion the awesomeness of gaming, the old rug pull backstab rarely gets its due, at least compared to the biggest twists in cinema or books anyway. And that's a shame, because although film has Fredo Corleones and Lando Calrissians, gaming has just as many impeccable heartbreakers that hit home in a far more impactful way, because it's often you who's being betrayed in the first place. Active player agency in a given narrative really can't be understated, as while great film twists will always hit home and sublimely written passages can burrow their way into your subconscious, combining the two and putting you slap bang in the center will always make gaming twists pretty damn special. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 shocking video game betrayals that scarred you for life. And also, major spoilers for the following games, check the description to see what I'm going to be talking about. Number 10. Joel, The Last of Us. A slight twist on the standard betrayal setup to start with, as one of the most shocking table turners in gaming history comes from not knowing that you were playing as the bad guy all along. Or were you? The Last of Us's finale forces you to take Ellie away from the Fireflies, who have stated that they'll have to kill her to extract a cure for the cordyceps virus spreading across the world. That said, it's simply a setup to ask the player a very important question. What matters more, the lives of millions of strangers or the one you love? Brilliantly, Naughty Dog have Joel make this decision for you, and after scooping Ellie off the operating table, he savagely executes the otherwise friendly Marlene in fear of being followed, only to end this turn by lying to Ellie and claiming that the Fireflies never needed her in the first place.
Turns out there's a whole lot more like you, Ellie.
The fact the game doesn't give you any real agency other than acting out Joel's actions only hammers home the severity of what he's done. And in doing so, has forever put us on either side of the fence as to whether or not we agree with what went down. Number 9. Edgar Ross, Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead's finale remains one of the greatest of all time, seeing main character John Marston unceremoniously gunned down by the duplicitous backstabber Edgar Ross. It forms the basis for you enacting the finest playable revenge arc ever when gameplay fades back up as Marston's son Jack. But all of this is precisely because Ross is built up throughout as being crooked as hell. So when the moment comes and you know that he's going to turn on you, you're kinda screaming "I knew it" at the screen as Father John Marston gets riddled with holes. The sheer brutality of seeing John get gunned down provides the perfect primer to track Ross to the ends of the earth. But for that moment when you realize you're completely outgunned and all is lost, it's one of the most momentous scenes in gaming history. Number 8. Big Smoke and Ryder, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. When we all rocketed through Rockstar's preliminary GTA trilogy on PS2, it's easy to forget just how many awesome moments were embedded within. San Andreas still feels like a 90s gangster rap fever dream, but there's always one story beat that leaps out more than most. That damn dirty Big Smoke and Ryder twist. Deciding to ally with Officer Tenpenny and the Ballers gang, the reveal comes as main man CJ spies a meeting going down between the former three. The biggest gut punch though comes directly from seeing the green Sabre car, as that was the one seen in Grove Street when CJ's mother was gunned down at the very beginning of the game. Eventually finding and delivering swift justice to this pair of traitors was incredibly satisfying. But when the scene comes out of nowhere, literally you get a phone call and then it is on, processing this twosome's juggling allegiance is the real shocker. Number 7. Al Mualim, Assassin's Creed. Now, people give the first Assassin's Creed way too much flack considering it nailed some open-world platforming mechanics that felt incredibly fun to experiment with and clearly caught on with the mainstream. All this alongside the most streamlined here's a target, analyze your options, then assassinate structure that future titles would just veer more and more away from. The first Assassin's Creed was one of the only entries in the series to methodically walk you through the steps of an actual assassination, before the sequels went all in on the Order being full of superpowered warriors who could just take on entire fleets of enemies without breaking a sweat. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the whole franchise, but I also just wanted to say something positive about the first one. Especially in regards to the plot, which before we knew the ramifications of the Assassins and Templars fighting it out in the present, felt fresh, unexpected, and genuinely surprising. See, the blind faith-demanding Assassin Order asked you to continually take out a number of high-profile targets, with only the barest reasoning as to why this was the case. Come the close of the game and a handful of dying speeches from your last few kills, they all illuminate just how grey leader Al Mualim's actions have become. It is then revealed that he wanted the mysterious piece of Eden that you've been tracking this whole time, and all the people that you've been taking out formed any competition that he would have faced along the way. Coupled with all the mind-effery going on in the present-day storyline, I at least thought all of this stuff was expertly done. Number 6, Atlas is Fontaine, Bioshock. Everyone knows those 3 little words that blew our minds from here to the moon and back in 2008, but what comes after tends to divide people into 2 specific camps. Those who like and share Ken Levine's ethos that the game should have brains and brawn, and those who thought fighting a massive action figure after such a mind-bending preamble was kind of a big ol' cop-out. Either way, the realization that your former compadre Atlas is actually the conniving Frank Fontaine provides a suitable punching bag to take out all your frustrations on, at least once you've recovered from battering Andrew Ryan to death. The latter tends to take the cake as Bioshock's most memorable moment, but this isn't a knockout punch, it's a 1-2 combo. You can't have the latter without the former, and you can't have the gasping WTF reaction without a suitable follow-through. Number 5, Wheatley, Portal 2. Valve barely announcing any video games across the 2010s kinda obscures the fact that holy sweet Jesus on a jet ski, Portal 2 is exemplary. Besides perfect puzzles and physics, it contains one of the most lovable video game characters of all time, the clumsy but lovable buffoon Wheatley, voiced expertly by Stephen Merchant. From the get-go, you'll likely have gone all Lenny from Mice and Men on Wheatley, just wanting to hang with him, cherish him, and wait for all his extended dialogue to play out, just hoping that the pair of you make it out of Aperture in one piece. Then you get to the chamber where former foe GLaDOS is housed, and after Wheatley overrides her programming to let you go free, he feels an overwhelming sensation of power, the likes of which a klutz like him has never known before. Within seconds, he's brought you back down to earth. The score swells, and he crams GLaDOS into a potato battery, then throws the 2 of you down a waste chute, leaving you to contemplate everything as you now fall to your potential death. Number 4, Rex, Mass Effect. Granted, you can only really call this a betrayal if you go against Rex during his altercation on Vermeer, but either way, it's a shocking moment, as up until this point, the angry Krogan was on his way to becoming a firm fan favorite. Things start to get supremely tetchy when Rex discovers that the genocidal genophage virus can actually be cured by using the technology that villain Saren has inside the facility you're heading towards. However, the reality of everything at stake is that would do far more damage in the long run than good. At least that's what we thought at the beginning of the first installment. Suddenly, you're both eyeing each other up through pistol crosshairs, with the option to reason with him, shoot or berate his hair trigger all up for the taking. Rex can make appearances in the following 2 games depending on how this altercation goes down, but the moment that you realize it's actually happening and can genuinely choose to execute a main character is pretty damn incredible. Number 3, King Knight, Shovel Knight, King of Cards. Look, I get it, okay? We're playing as a villain. He's someone we've already bested in the main Shovel Knight campaign, and although the petulant spoiled brat King Knight is charming enough to embody, the assumption was that he wasn't literally going to sell all of his friends and his own mum out to become the true king. And yet, like the emotional finales of Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, and Spectre Knight, King Knight's tale ends with full-on, oh man, F this guy style betrayal. Developer Yacht Club really make you go through this exemplary 15-hour platforming journey, recruiting people to your cause, having a jolly jaunt through the land as you play cards and hoover up gems, only for the character you thought you had figured out to stab everyone in the back. Thankfully, the Blue Burrower himself pops up after the game's credits and shows that the king's opulent reign is very short-lived. Still, King Knight, my dude, did you have to betray your own mum? Number 2, Lance Vance, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Lance is one of those divisive individuals you always knew you'd hate if he ever put a foot wrong. However, it was as Vice City was wrapping up that we'd given up doubting the guy from front to back. Then the forever talked about nemesis Sonny shows up and starts rambling about how someone in your organization knows how to do business. Lance sidles up alongside him and the battle lines are clearly drawn. You really have to give it to voice actor Philip Michael Thomas as he lays on the venom thick, really hammering home just how much he's got one over on Tommy Vercetti, as well as setting up quite the motivation to gun Lance down once gameplay resumes. Honestly, outside of Mortal Kombat, whipping out a katana and slicing off an opponent's head never felt so good. And number 1, Liquid Snake, Metal Gear Solid. Hands down, the greatest betrayal in gaming history, although I'm sure you'll argue with me down in the comments. It is such a soap opera style wig-whipping aha moment too. The reveal that your companion Master Miller was actually main villain Liquid Snake comes with the perfect amount of build-up. There you are, Solid Snake attempting to stop the hulking Metal Gear Rex from powering up and blowing a hole in the side of the world's populace. Then compadre Master Miller starts talking a little bit more sinisterly than usual. It's strange, but you go with it, until Colonel Campbell pops up on the radio and says that Miller's real body has just been discovered at his home, except that it looks like he's been dead for 3 days. Campbell's voice gains an air of hysteria. Snake, you've been talking to...
me, dear brother.
And it seems that Miller has become Liquid Snake, the main villain of the game, his changed appearance now staring you down. Liquid even taunts you by asking if you liked his sunglasses. It's absolutely brilliant and one of the many reasons why I adore Metal Gear Solid. At least, those are my picks for the biggest betrayals in gaming history. No doubt you've got some picks that you want to throw down in the comments below, so please feel free. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com. Please check out the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast, and I'll catch you soon.